Welcome to the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Masonic while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian.
And I'm Russ.
And
Garth Bloom.
All right.
So you saw Garth from a previous episode. We all kind of man-crushed him a little bit of some of the things that he's doing at a local lodge in Kansas. He's uncomfortable about it still, and we like it. So, Russ, we're going to talk today about something that may be very controversial. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something we need to talk about and sort of bring to the forefront. But yeah, it's going to be a little painful.
Yeah. So we're going to bring you all into family dinner. So family dinner, we have some of the tough conversations, right? So Garth, do you feel like this topic that we're about to touch on should be discussed more?
Absolutely should. You know, it's not going away. We have to talk about it.
It's the elephant in the room, so to speak.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about some stats first. Not a math guy, but I do like data. So membership in our organization, it's down about 75%. At a high, we were around 4.1 million in the United States in 1959, which really was the pinnacle. Where about 4.5% of all American men were members of Masonic lodges.
And in Kansas, 1957 was the last year we saw a gain in
So
membership.
that was the pinnacle.
Yep.
So we all stayed around it. So sounds like Kansas dropped off before everyone else.
On average.
Yeah. So, Russ, we talked about this on previous podcasts where we questioned if there was a dip in membership after the Morgan Affair, and there was a dip, and I think that's because basically people went dark. It wasn't because people weren't interested in joining. A lot of lodges were dark, and there was nothing to join because of that crazy thing. So. So many Masons, they see the decline in membership right now. It's really just kind of symptomatic of all fraternal organizations declining rather than it being a specific problem with the fraternity. So they're saying it's not a problem with us, just everyone's not joining. So do you agree with that initially or not? We're going to dig deeper.
Yeah, I believe in society you are seeing definitely not a camaraderie, not a fellowship like you used to.
Do you think it's a joiners issue?
To a point, yes.
Okay, thoughts?
And I don't think it should be. I mean, just because it's happening with other fraternities doesn't mean we should just throw our hat in. It's just our problem too. I mean, we need to address it, and it has to be dealt with.
So the topic, you probably saw it on the content and the headers you came in, but the topic is, have we opened the doors to Freemasonry too much? So with us being Masons being the oldest and most storied ritualistic fraternity, you know, our rituals and we just continue to grow. World War II, I think we had such a big influx during any type of wartime because from my understanding, folks, when they went to war, they wanted to be able to be buried as a Mason. And have you heard this? Something to that? And you I guess
I think there was bonds of brotherhood and fellowship through those years of World War II. And afterwards, they came home and they were looking for that. So, yeah.
So you think they were joining before and after? Well, obviously, because the apex was 59.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I'm going to throw a few stats out there for you as we kind of get in. Fraternal organizations, they've been on a big decline. So the Lions Club, they're down the least of what we're going to talk about, 52% since 1983. And Russ brought up a good point.
They also have, it's commingled, men and women.
They've opened the doors for
to women.
Right.
Yeah.
The Elks Lodges, they're down 68% since 1979. Shriners are down 70% overall to about 250,000 today in the United States. JCs, JAYCE, I don't know what in the world the JCs do.
I don't either.
I don't remember seeing signs.
I'm going to have to Google it later.
Yeah, Google that and let us know. They're down 64% since 79. Freemasonry, we're down about 75% since 1959, from a little over 4 million to plus or minus a million now. So my question is here. Lions Club, they've had the least amount of decline. Now, we don't know what their starting numbers are.
Are these numbers in the United States?
United States only.
Yeah.
United States only. So my question is here. Let me just pose this. Have they dropped less because they allowed women? Probably. So my yes or no question to you is, should Freemasonry allow women in?
No. This is a fraternity.
This is a fraternity, right? We won't go in any deeper than that. My wife will say the same thing. We'll talk about it, and she'll say, why in the hell would anybody want to do that? We've got our own stuff to do.
Yes.
That's the right answer, Heidi.
Yep.
That's the right answer, girl. Kind of the same question before, but why do you think fraternal organizations are suffering? I mean, is your question, is the answer different from before?
I think there's a lot of factors in that.
Name some.
To me, like the shrine, the decline. I mean, again, in Kansas specifically, used to be private club to have drinks. So I think there was a lot of Shriners were all because of
the drinking laws in the state of Kansas. Yeah, I think you're completely right.
It's a factor. I mean, there's factors everywhere.
Okay, yeah. I didn't even go there. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Do you think that going back to 1959? In 1959, there weren't the two working.
No.
So. Mom's taking care of, dad comes home, lady, take care of that, give me my food, I'm going to the shrine.
Right.
Hopefully they didn't speak like that, but it happened.
In a rougher voice with cigarettes.
Yeah.
You laughed at that. So I think you're right. And also when the kids went off to school, ladies also had their meetings during the day and certain church things. And they did things while the kids were gone at times. But they were working at home, doing whatnot. The men were working out. So there was one income that supported everything. There weren't two people trying to figure out life and then coming home at the same time and just going, there's a difference. And
there's a dynamic.
Shift.
Dynamics of the families change.
Yes.
There's more television channels.
There's a huge focus on children.
Yes.
Right or wrong. Sports.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
Is it a time thing?
My dad, and I loved him to death, and at no point in time did I think my dad didn't love me. But he said, what game do you want me to come to? He was a dairyman. All sports game during the season. Which game would you like me to come to? He would probably come to one or two. I played tennis. He usually saw one match per season. He saw me play tennis 4 times throughout high school. I didn't ever question that, but to actually go, we need to have our children no.
Did you go to all your kids' sporting events?
No, I did not.
Well, I tried to if I wasn't traveling.
I made sure.
I tried to.
When I was traveling, I made sure that I made every teacher conference. Not every sporting event.
Ooh, wow. I feel like that's, you just threw some shit.
Yes, I did. Because people just blow that off.
Pay attention to back when you saw my face when he mentioned about tennis. I had a look on my face because now I just realized that I got beat in a game of horse. I'm an athlete by a tennis player. I'm disgusted. Sorry, I digress. Sorry you had to be in the middle of this.
You're just not as good as you think you are.
Well, that's in lots of areas, I can assure you. So time's a big factor too, right? Just
time,
because
absolutely.
So many things.
But people choose that today. People, the other thing is the internet and people just sitting and gaming and the whole someone recently said, well, I play with my friends on these games. Are you all in the same room or are you together? No. But then what kind of fellowship is that?
Generation though. Did you? I remember the last game I played was in college. It was Tecmo Bowl. Do you ever remember Tecmo Bowl?
Vaguely.
Yeah. And that was, but once they got to all the extra buttons, I was out. Plus, I like to make money. That's such a time suck, and I didn't want to live in mom's basement.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of. I love meatloaf though, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, but yeah.
So, with this rapid decline, steady decline, rapid decline. A lot of states have incorporated a lot of different things to get people joining. Do you think that this knee-jerk reaction that, specifically with Masonry, do you think we've opened the door too much? Now the hard question has just come out.
Personally, I don't think it's open too much.
Okay.
Again, through the years, there's always been, good and bad that get through into our fraternity.
Okay.
But
you're the good guy. Have we lowered the bar, Russ? We're gonna keep the kid out of it.
So, I am a one-day Mason.
I'm a C2A Mason.
Oh, I don't know about this, guys.
Yeah, so
he's still on camera making fun of us. We get this every day.
Yeah, so there is a fine line because I was a part of a period of time where that bar was probably lowered.
Sheldon Lawrence was in the first all the way in one day class. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Sheldon Lawrence.
Jim
Ralston.
Yeah.
Those are Masons right there.
Yeah. So Albert Pike has actually all the seats were filled with one day or C2A Masons at one time. So Albert Pike kept a bar of proficiency and things going on. But yet, I think overall, there were times in these classes that you knew guys were just sort of floating their buddies through. So in that situation, I have a hard time. I support and defend one-day classes, but we still, as Masons, have to watch the West Gate.
Exactly. I think there's two things here. The West Gate, we can't let trash in. Bottom line, we are an elite organization in my mind. Not every man should be a Mason, and elite does not mean money to me. Elite, we want elite character men, and I think that I have not brought any of my friends into Masonry, not one. Think that through.
Nor have I.
Okay, but not that they're not good people, right?
Yeah,
but
just not a good fit.
Right, but I love my friends I've had for 30, 40 years, but my people in Masonry, it's a different bond. It's a different bond.
I have chosen to bring friends in at different times and with what's going on within the fraternity at the time. I've sort of floated in and out. Still believe that at the end of the day, a Mason is here. And if there's not a want, then they may, at some point in time, just go, it isn't a big deal.
I'm not worried about the metropolitan cities. Wichita, we're going to hold on for a while. It's a population thing. I do worry about the rural communities, and for different ways. One, just the amount of people joining, and then the guys who are there, the older guys, and they can't do all the degree work. There's lots of levels for lots of reasons for different things that we do. Ultimately, you being all the way, or you being a one-day Mason and me being a C2A, our lodge did their job of getting us back in and having us be proficient and do what we do.
Yes.
So it really, those are lodge problems to me. Those aren't Grand Lodge problems. Right. It's not the Grand Lodge's job to make Masons do the right thing.
Right.
At the end of the day, now they can use something in their toolbox to try to help, but at the end of the day,
Masons need to do the right
thing. We need to step up and do our damn job, right?
Yeah. Trying to get them in the door, and then after that, it's up to them.
There's a piece here. You talked about it's not financial. I'll not challenge that, but take it a little different direction.
Okay.
Good Masons sometimes find themselves in situations that Masonry needs to take a second backseat. So at times you may find yourself that you can't afford Masonry. Good Masons demit from their lodge, do it the right way, and come back when they have the opportunity. When I was master, I had a situation where a guy, his wife showed up and said, "Hey, is there something we can do about this year's dues?" And I happen to know that he was actually a unit head at the shrine. So I called the recorder and go, "Yeah, what the heck's this?" Guy came and paid his dues. So sometimes there's a character flaw there.
Yeah, there is.
Because at the end of the day, lodge is first in Masonry.
Right.
And so that was some weird thing where maybe he didn't think he could afford things. Well, then you demit from Shrine. You demit from these for a period of time until you can afford it.
Yeah.
If you can't afford it, then you can't afford your kids' shoes. You can't afford, and
you walk me into
it. That's the issue.
I agree. You know, a lot of dues are around $150 now. There's way less, but $150, about $12 a month. Let me just tell you, Masons. I'm not talking to anybody else that's not a Mason. Masons, if you're running that tight, that $12 a month is a problem, you got other stuff going on. And I can tell you this, it's real easy to look at Russ and I always have the conversation about the budget buster in every household is going out to eat. We're not going to share our numbers because they're disgusting.
They're bad.
But Russ and I, we know what we spent going out to eat last year.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, we could probably fund a small country.
Yeah. So what I also believe is our dues at Albert Pike, our own lodge is what, 130? It should be. Yeah, right?
We're like member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should keep things. You should keep up with that. Anyway, they ought to be 130 a month. I'll throw that out.
I remember at one time when somebody said it should be $1 a day or $365. I thought that was great too. But to me, personally, I think you get in twice as much out as what you put in. I really believe this. I didn't think I needed this in my life, but it's made me a much more patient employer. It's made me look at managing and working with volunteers is totally different. So to me, I think what I get in return, this has been one of my best investments I've made. And I'm not saying money.
Yeah, no.
My time is my commodity.
As a human being.
Yep. It really has been. And I'm worried to death because the topic is, have we opened the doors too much for Freemasonry? I'm really worried about us either watering down our fraternity or bastardizing it, because I think the brand of Masonry, we talked about it a little bit off camera, there's a Mason in the area we're at. My daughter has watched me be in Masonry for a long time, has grown up in it, and there's somebody that's just not really representing the brand in the way that it should, and she's like, Dad, I'm really not comfortable with my husband being a part of that because of the career that they're in. And you know what? That's a damn shame when you've had a kid grow up in the fraternity and that's what they think now.
Yeah.
Of what's going on. And it's really a testament to what we have going on. And we talk about the Westgate of when they come in. Frankly, we need to do a better job policing once they're in. I wouldn't let another person in Masonry right now until we clean up what we've got going on inside personally. Because we're worried about all the new people. Why don't you take care of the people that we have already in there? Let's mentor them. And it just might work out another direction. It's a little harsh. But to me, you don't invite people over for dinner if the house is dirty. And right now, the house isn't picked up. Man, I just go off on a rant there.
Yeah, you did.
Absolutely.
But do you disagree?
Masons meet on the level, correct?
Right.
Where's the level? Is it in the gutter or is it up here? So you probably ought to be striving for the level. Each and every one of us needs to be reaching for the level. Yeah. And if you're not actually reaching for a level, then you may need to sort of self-reflect.
Fair. Let me ask you kind of one final question. So recruiting is not a thing that we're supposed to be doing. Do you think if higher caliber, again, somebody's going to be on here, oh, Bird, you're being pretentious, elitist, it's a money thing. Think whatever you want. I've already said it's not, but I don't really care. Do you think that we should be recruiting higher caliber members? Do you think that if we knew just a pillar of the community, do you think that we should be recruiting them?
I believe we need to make sure that we are recruiting high caliber, moral and good men.
Yes.
Good men.
Yep.
And you know who they are.
You do.
And it doesn't mean that they are doctors or lawyers always.
Correct.
That's my point.
Their
That's
profession is not.
That's my point on money.
Their profession has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, are they good men?
Their moral character.
Yeah, their moral character. And are they good? Are they good neighbor?
Should we be allowed to recruit? Yes or no? high caliber men.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Should we be able to say, Russ, I'm a Mason. Yeah, dude, the fraternity needs you now. Mm-hmm. We need you now more than ever. And we're not going to take 27 hours a day from you or 18 days a week. We need you to be in because you're representative of our brand. And I think that's how we don't open the door too much for Masonry. Right. Maybe we open a different door, the recruitment door of who. If I just think we need to go to the tool. You mentioned something about our toolbox. Mm-hmm. We need to go to our toolbox and pull out. Hey, maybe we should forget the to be one, ask one crap. Maybe we need to go out and ask a good guy.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's not a bylaw violation. I mean,
no, not
so. But I mean, cut the crap of make them ask, because maybe we're just not doing a good enough job of representing the brand.
The right caliber person will actually engage. If you're having to talk somebody into Masonry,
talking in is different.
Then they're not it.
And I agree. We should not be talking them into it. But sometimes we need to prime the pump.
You have to prime the pump, and it may take that journey of recruiting maybe as long as 5 years. It may be 7 years before one day that guy goes, "Yep,
I'm at this point in my life," and you know what? That's going to be the time we need him, because we've all said we've joined exactly when we were supposed to. Yeah. You wouldn't have been good at 18.
Yeah.
Nope. Absolutely not.
No.
Right.
And your brother was Grand Master. He'd been a Mason a long time.
Yeah. But you finally saw something.
You went.
You finally saw something.
Yeah.
I want to be a Mason.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tracy, you should have damn recruited your brother earlier. What are you doing? But you know what? It worked out for Pike because we got him
right
exactly
time.
when we were supposed to get him.
At the right time.
I'd have been a horrible Mason earlier in my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure. So we want to thank you for following. Please give us, this is a really a tough conversation. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you think, hey, you guys are pretentious, you're dead on, you're dead wrong, let us know why. I mean, it's a very important topic. Share it with your lodge brothers. Maybe this is something in the Masonic Edge you should have a conversation about.
Yeah.
Are we doing this? Should we do this? We need good men in our ranks, and the more we let these good men know that we're not crazy Satan-worshiping fools, and that our fraternity is going to be better off so it's here for our kids, we need to do something different. So we're off our soapbox. Thanks for following the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast.
Brothers, thank you.
Russ's glass is empty, by the way.
Yeah.